my silence, I can hear you, but I'm afraid to be near you, and I don't know where to begin.
Welcome, dear viewers. Grodno is a city in Belarus and an example of how more than 800 years ago a variety of settlements in Central Europe could become the capital. Officially, Lithuanians, Poles and Russians were here, and the multinational culture was formed as a result. The Jewish and the Western Ukrainian communities made an important contribution, but the soul of the city has always remained Belarusian.
Grodno is very rich in sites. It is located in the very west of Belarus, which is why it is also called the most European city in Belarus, because of its architecture, which resembles modern European cities. All the sites in Grodno can be visited on foot in one day, and in this video we'll show you 4 places in Grodno that are worth visiting for tourists.
Is it real or a fable? Well, I suppose a friend is a friend.
The first place on our list is the St. John's Lutheran Church. Grodno Evangelical Lutheran Community was formed back in 1779 from Lutherans of German origin, who were invited to that town by the town governor to organize and work for the royal manufacturers. The history of the Lutheran Church dates back to the 20th of September 1793. King Stanislav August gave to Grodno community of Lutheran Protestants a 3-story building of the former tavern for prayers, which was rebuilt into a church. As majority of the Lutherans came from Germany, initially services were conducted in German language. The Lutheran congregation was in reverence and developed at a rapid pace. During its history, the Lutheran Church suffered most harsh trials. The number of Lutherans in Belarus sharply decreased during the First World War, when the Tsarist authorities deported the Germans deep into Russia. In the 40s there were only 1,500 of them, but the language of worship continued to be German. The revival of the Lutheran Church began in 1995, and it was returned to the religious people. The building was renovated to be able to conduct services. The Gustav Adolf Foundation, which helps evangelical communities to carry out missionary programs and build churches, financed the restoration and renovation of the buildings. Today, it is the only functioning Lutheran church in Belarus. The interior furnishings of the church are ascetic in a Lutheran way. The walls and the ceiling are 10 meters high, and there are a few rows of benches in the middle of the big hall. The only decorations are stained glass windows. The stained glass side windows behind the altar are authentic. The ornamentation is in the form of the Lutheran symbol, a rose with a heart with a cross inside. The central stained glass window has not survived in its original form. It is likely that the pattern carried a strong religious connotation. Of the surviving items, the wrought iron baptismal font and bell are still in use today, as is the clock in the main tower. The Lutheran Church is also called a singing church. A large part of the worship service consists of religious songs. Today, an electronic organ is used temporarily for masses.
The Church of the Holy Redeemer in Grodno is a functioning Catholic church in the Divitovka district. The history of the church is connected with the activity of the Redemptorist congregation, which was engaged in religious enlightenment and rendered all kinds of assistance to the poor. These monks appeared in Belarus at the beginning of 1990s, when believers were returned the right to pray and choose their religion. The construction began in 1993 when the ground was laid and consecrated for the new church in the micro-district of Divitovka. In 1994, a chapel designed by Henryk Zubel was built there. The first divine service was held here in 1996. Since then, it has been a center of prayer until 2009. The construction of the church itself began in November 1997, according to the design of architect Zubel. In 2000, a cornerstone was laid in one of the walls of the future church. The stone was consecrated and presented by Pope John Paul II. The church was built with the active participation of pensioners as well as Redemptorists and Catholics from the USA, Poland, Germany and Italy. On the 15th of October in 2011, Bishop Alexander Kashkevich solemnly consecrated the church. The church has an unusual architectural shape and is built in the neo-constructivist style. To the left of the entrance there's a belfry, a monastery building and paraphrase rooms are added to the facade. Because the walls of the temple are lined with red bricks, the inhabitants gave it its name, the Red Church. The interior decoration includes figures of various saints installed in the main and lateral altars. Of particular value of the relics of Saint John Paul II. In the monastery complex there is a figure of Saint Catherine of Alexandria, who is the heavenly protector of railway workers.
The central part of the student complex of Grodno State Agrarian University is a beautiful park. It is the Arboretum of the university. The basis of the Arboretum is a partially preserved old Stanislavski Park, which was located in the northwestern part of Grodno. The park was laid out in 1760-1770 by Italian architect Giuseppe de Sacco, around the summer residence of Polish King Stanislav August Poniatowski. It was created in late Baroque style and had a three-ray arrangement of the main alleys, which today are only partially visible behind the house of the former residence, the complex of buildings of which has survived to the present day and where now some academic buildings of the university are located. Today, the Arboretum is a collection of trees and shrubs spread over an area of 5.2 hectares and has about 90 species. Here, in addition to the rich variety of local flora, representatives of other continents have been growing here for over 40 years. These include North American woody plants, forest and flora, trees and shrubs from Europe and Siberia, and Central Asian flora. The introduced plants have adapted quite well to our climatic conditions. Some species can be found literally in single specimens.
The Gilbert City Park in Grodno is located in the heart of our city. Jean-Emmanuel Gilbert was a French medical scientist, teacher and educator who did a lot for Grodno. He was invited by Anthony Tizingaus, a well-known philanthropist, and under patronage of his powerful friend Jean-Emmanuel founded Grodno Medical Academy, the first higher medical school in Belarus. He was also one of the founders of the midwifery school, and Grodno Hospital, showed innovative methods of work to local pharmacists, and founded a botanical garden.
The garden was established under the guidance of the Grodno Frenchman, and nowadays the city park is named after Gilbert. The garden was laid out in 1775 and served as a visual teaching aid for students at the academy, together with whom Jean-Emmanuel researched the nature of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Rare representatives of the flora, brought by Gilbert from his native Lyon, also grew here and took root in Grodno. 3 years after its creation, the garden was already considered one of the best in Europe, numbering 2,000 plant species. Among them is a mermaid-like girl sitting pensively in a clearing with a fish entangled in her hair, a collective image of Grodno architects, one of whom was Giuseppe de Sacco, and of course the man who laid out the park, Jean-Emmanuel Gilbert. The park also boasts several cafes, most of which open only during the warm season, a summer amphitheater, and attractions for children and adults. That's the end of our tour around Grodno. Grodno is an amazing cultural and historical city, with a lot to see during your visit. Grodno itself is unique and ancient, with all its building and architectural monuments.
It's a very multi-confessional city where tourists will always be welcome. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. See you later!
You sing for the dead. What is that song? You sing for the dead. I see the signal searchlight strike me in the window of my room. Well, I got nothing to prove. Well, I got nothing to prove.